Here. Hey, looks like it's live. So I'm Lise Colucci, and I'm here to talk to you and help you with recovering from being in narcissistic relationships in your life, or whatever kind of relationship that might have been. So, hey, Misty. Um, so let's get started. I want to talk about valuing yourself after you've, or while you're in, or however it is for you when you've been around toxic people, and valuing you and stop devaluing yourself in the process of trying to heal from this stuff. So let's get started just going with this. So often what happens, and hopefully this hasn't happened to you, but if it has, you know what I'm talking about, where your sense of self is kind of diminished. Your feelings about who you are and how good you are, what you're worth, your value, your place in the world, all of it is sort of confused and muddled and mixed with the toxic things you've been told, or the guilt that you're feeling for having stayed in relationships, or the shame that you're feeling that was placed on you by the toxic person, or the shame that you're carrying for that toxic person, which is really their shame that they ought to be feeling. I'm going to pop a light on. That's a little better. Thought I had lights on. I didn't. So, hey, Audrey. So anyway, let's talk about that. It's super common. It's not uncommon to have these feelings of no self-worth. What the heck do you do with them? And what are you actually telling yourself when you're devaluing yourself? Are you keeping the loop that was going, and the toxic behaviors that were going, while you're sort of self-gaslighting yourself? Are you um are you believing the trauma drama that the narcissistic person has planted up in your head about who you are and your value in the world? And were you told things like, you're not good enough, you're not worthy, no one will ever love you the way I love you, because why would they? Or wow, you're wrong, you're toxic, you're too crazy, you're, all of that stuff. Were you told these things and you're actually buying what they sold? Right? Not because you want to, but because it's been deeply programmed into the way you think now. And it sort of infected your emotional life, right? And how you perceive yourself. So, there's enough other people willing to do the gaslighting. I know, but see, a lot of people, they do this self gaslighting where they convince themselves that they're the ones that should feel the shame or should feel guilt or blame for any of it, because of um, the way they've been treated, and the way they've been taught to think, and the way they've been taught to take the responsibility for the toxic person, instead of letting that person be an individual and have the responsibility themselves, right? Okay, so let's talk about things to do instead of just going on and on about all the bad feelings. Let's talk about things to do. I'm just going to read from my notes here. Um, so often when you're not valuing yourself, first of all, what does that even mean? It means, where are you placing yourself in the importance of your own life? Okay, where is if there was a scale that went up and down, where are you in the importance of your own life, as far as the value of who you are and how you perceive yourself, and how you put yourself out there, and where you see yourself in relationship with other people, or relationship with the world itself, or just in relationship with yourself, right? You've always been a self-blamer. Uh-huh. And see, and this is, it's important. We're not considering ourselves. We are, okay. I don't know about you guys. Consideration, having consideration for others, to me, it's common sense. Because even if I don't know the person or care about, like whatever, having consideration for the situation of whatever's going on between me and that other person means it's easier to sort of function in life, right? If everyone had consideration, how simple would things be, right? Not that you have to accommodate and bend over backwards and people please and all of that. It's consideration, meaning I'm well aware of what I believe the needs of the situation are. I'm aware that this person has this trigger, so why would I push the button? I'm aware of whatever it is, right? And don't you feel like people don't give you that same respect, that same consideration? And here's the thing, oftentimes it's because we're not giving ourselves that consideration. We're not considering our needs. We're not considering our requirements for living a healthy, happy life, or even just a healthy life, right? Like happiness, I believe, comes and goes just like all emotions do. So I'm not even going to say that, but living a life that is the one you're trying to create. How can you create a life if you don't have value for yourself? What are you creating? You're creating a life of lesser value. So let's create lives of higher value by placing ourselves up higher on our own hierarchy of what we value in life. All right. Let's see what you guys are saying. Hey, love and peace. And here to hopefully heal, help you heal. Sorry. Okay. And Audrey. And who else is here? Barbara. I can't see everyone. Okay. Okay. So, oh my gosh, why does it do that? Okay. I've always been a self-blamer. You know what? I do. When it gets bright, I should just turn there. Now I can see the screen. It was all dim. I'm like, okay, back to the live stream. So what do you do when you're not valuing yourself? When if you're recognizing this in yourself while I'm talking, like, okay, I do self-blame. I'm not considering my requirements, my choices. Like, how can you make a choice if you're making a choice through the filter of somebody else's toxic programming in your head? You're making a choice through that filter. So if you're recognizing that these are the things that you do and you're not valuing yourself, if I said, how much do you value you in this situation? Many people would say, I'm not even thinking about me. I'm not considering me, or they're considering their emotional needs, but they're not considering themselves as a human being and what it would take to have those emotional needs met and fulfilled, not through another person, but through their own inner knowing that you're okay, their own self. We don't have the self building up tools, right? We don't have that because of all the stuff you guys are talking about in the chat there that's been programmed out of us. It hasn't been taught to you how to do this. So let's talk about how. Yeah, see, blaming self is and then we're going to talk about that because that's one of the things. Okay, so let's just start. How do you value yourself? How to value yourself, and what is that? So for a minute, we're going to step outside of everything that anyone's ever done. We're going to look at it as if we're blank slates for a second and try for a second to not bring in the judgments and the expectations and the contrivances that other people have placed on you just while we talk here, and see if this even feels remotely okay for you. All right. If you wish to value yourself, it can't be about what other people said. It can't be about what other people taught you, even your mother, even your father. Okay. If they were toxic people, or even if they weren't and they made mistakes, right, in how they treated you, it can't be about them. It has to be about your own value system for yourself. Okay. And your choice to work on that. Okay. So the inner critic, let's start there. The inner critic is a big one, right? And where do we get this inner critic? Mostly from what we've been told we're supposed to believe about ourselves, or how we're wrong, or how we've been shamed, or how we've been criticized or ridiculed in our lives, right? So mostly it's not our natural state to have an inner critic. The inner critic in a healthy way would be one that keeps your own moral compass in line, right? Meaning, not to harm others, not to harm yourself, not to, these things that are giving you your value system, right, for yourself. So if that is the healthy sort of inner critic, what's this other stuff, this other noise in your head that comes from other people, and why are we listening to it? So recognizing that voice, that inner voice that's saying you shouldn't do that, you're wrong, look, they looked at you funny, therefore you're a bad person, that's projecting out toward other people and hoping back for some sort of validation from strangers, right, from situations in life. That inner critic, it kind of needs to take a back seat. And Question: why do narcissists cry? Oh my gosh. Well, for attention. Okay, they have feelings. Not all of them, but most of them have feelings. They have feelings, so they might cry because they're feeling their feelings hurt, or they're feeling their ego bruised, or they're feeling something's not going their way and they're frustrated, or they want attention, or they cry because it's appropriate to cry in a situation and it makes them look like they are feeling the way you feel. Their feelings are self uh only. And here we are talking about self, but this is a different form of self. This is who you truly are. This isn't your ego. They're there to protect their ego and they call that self. So that's why they're crying for the most part. Let's see. Self-reflection is required. I don't know what we're talking about. Different things here, maybe. I'm going to keep going. That inner critic is, oh, she's a tough one, or he, whoever it is in you, right? It's a tough one because it feels like truth. It feels like a knowing. What you're doing is judging. When you catch yourself judging, literally take that judgment about yourself and examine it a little bit. Just say to yourself, is this my judgment? Is this really my judgment? And if so, that's interesting. It doesn't have to be so important. It's not the boss of you. Okay. The inner critic isn't your boss. Let's stop making it your boss. It can be there, and it can be there for you to question so that you can be like, is this the right choice or not the right choice? How am I doing this? So that you can get like some feel for how to operate in life. But other than that, it needs to just calm down a bit. It's a little much when we are constantly in that inner critic as our main form of making choice in our life. Okay, so let's keep going. Do you know how to receive a compliment? That's a hard one, right? Learning to receive a compliment is part of valuing yourself. That doesn't mean you have to listen to the mush of somebody who is toxic and believe it. That doesn't mean you have to like soak up the love bombing. What it means is know when a compliment's genuine and it still feels uncomfortable, right? You can almost feel, I mean, little compliments. I'm not talking about gushing love bombing. I'm talking about a friend, a stranger. You hold the door open for a stranger and they say, "Thank you, that was polite." Okay, let's just say that. Most of us cringe, right? Or we're like, "I didn't do it to make polite," or whatever. We have a reaction. If those simple compliments, you can value yourself, meaning it's not about your ego that you held the door open. It's just you did it. That was an action that gave someone ease. Say they're carrying a bunch of bags and you did that, whatever, right? It's not for your ego. It's not to build yourself up. But when they thank you, take it. Simply say you're welcome. Tell that inner critic, hush, it doesn't matter. It doesn't even matter if they're trying to manipulate me, because guess what? I'm walking away. I'm not nothing to do with them in life. Okay. When I watch people who can gracefully take compliments and really, oh my gosh, I literally had that example of my life where this man opened the door. I had a bunch of stuff in my hands. This older gentleman opens the door and I walk through and I said, "Whoa, thank you. That was very polite." Like literally just like that, because he considered me for a second. He saw the situation and he goes, "Oh, I just saw your hands were full. You're welcome." And I, as the receiver of like having given that compliment, felt no tension. It felt ease. It was no big deal, right? And then he went on his day, I went on mine, no big deal. That's how a compliment could feel. Okay. And so obviously that's different from somebody manipulating you. And that's the problem, is we've been manipulated or we've been told we're not worth anything. So why would we accept a compliment? Okay, let's move on. Okay. Practice affirmations, you guys. Not my thing. So I'm going to talk about it because I know it is a lot of people's things. Affirmations can be very useful for those of you that it's useful for. For those of us that are always going, yeah, but maybe not so much. If that is you, if you're a person that can't look in the mirror and say you are amazing, every day, whatever you need to do, or have your affirmations posted everywhere and it helps you. If you're a person that gets cringy like I am with that, change the affirmation. Change it to something believable. You know what? You're doing pretty good. I can't argue with that, right? Guess what? It's fine. You know, like that's instead of these big glowing affirmations that feel artificial, go to something that feels real for you. Write them down. When you catch yourself complimenting yourself, when you catch yourself in progress, right? When you catch yourself doing something, write it down. There's your affirmation. Because you know what? That's the truth. When you catch yourself, like if you would compliment somebody else for something, compliment yourself. There's an affirmation. Find things that are true for you. So we're going to keep going. Okay. Next thing, stop comparing yourself to others, please. Please. It's another judgment. It's another contrivance. You are not somebody else. Somebody else is not you. There's nothing to compare unless you are doing the same exact job and you're trying to figure out which one of you is better suited to do that same exact job for a specific reason. Then the comparison makes sense. But in life, as a human being, stop comparing yourself. My guess is most of you are pretty good people. Okay. If you feel like there's areas in your life you could be a better person and you choose to, then do it. And excuse me, I tickle. And if you feel like you are um needing a comparison to better yourself, in other words, in a healthy way, then do it. Other than that, stop the comparing. It's another judgment. When you feel like you're not as good as someone else, it's another judgment. When you feel like you're lesser than, there's another judgment on yourself. Those are the judgments to let go of. Stop comparing yourself. Stop saying the new supply must be blah, 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 and list all the ways that that new supply must be better. It's not true. First of all, in that situation, who cares what the narcissist thinks, really? But since we do for a while, in that situation, all they're doing is choosing a different flavor. Okay. It's not a better flavor. It's just a different flavor. They see people as objects and they're using the next person and they're taking on all the good stuff about that person may be true and it may be different from the good stuff about you. That doesn't mean you're less than them. Okay. Narcissists use people. That's what they're doing. So stop comparing. You for yourself though, just stop. It's not worth it. All right. Okay, what else we got here? What else I say? Oh, how do you accept yourself as you are? How do you guys accept yourself as you are? How do you do it? It's a weird one. It's like, how do you explain how to do that? Just accept yourself, you guys, and then everything's fine. Okay, we're done. Bye. Right? No. Okay. You know who you are, says Barbara. Guess what? Do we? We do. Okay, but we're often covering it up with all of the stuff I'm talking about, with these inner voices, these inner critics, these comparisons and all of that. That's not who you are. Okay, find things in your life that bring you into a state of you-ness. Okay, does that make sense? Even if it's little moments in your day, even if, like, for me, I only get certain gaps in my day and I have built them in so that I have literal me time, because I do a lot of giving, okay, and I do a lot of interacting on a very intimate and close level with people because I'm there for them, right? I'm not there for me, and I'm trying to be me in that situation with them, as you know, with coaching and all the other stuff I do. I'm trying to be myself with them, for them, right? Not for me. So I need to, in my life, and so your life's going to be what yours is. So figure out what you need for your life to have these moments of time. It might be with people and it might be alone. You know what's right for you. Okay, where you feel like you. And I remember when it clicked yesterday, I was really heavy with other people's energy from something in a personal, like, in-person thing. And it wasn't bad. It was just heavy energy, like really sticky person, right? And I remember, like, I was driving along and I was like, okay, music helps. Find the music that's the right music. I put something on and I'm like, okay, keep breathing, get outside, look at the trees, do the things you know you need to do, Lise, and boom, it clicked over instant. What does it feel like to accept yourself? Almost like nothing. Emptiness, expansion, a good kind of emptiness, expansiveness, awareness of what's going on around me. It's not joyful, it's not happy, it's just is, right? It's comfortable in a curious and open way. And it comes and goes. It's not like I can stay there, right? But find the things in life that bring you to that place. It could be any. I'm not going to tell you what it is for you because you're you, right? I can tell you what it is for me and how I find it. And so hopefully you can figure it out what is for you, right? For me, I go into nature around animals because animals don't judge and animals have amazing energy if you're around the right animals. Okay. And they are so for me that works. Being around people who can be themselves without putting too much on me. Does that make sense? And there's a few people that I know that do that. And sometimes it's being completely alone, often, mostly. And quieting the mind, being aware in my body of where I am in the world, things like that. And if you can do that while you're whatever it is you're doing and learn to accept that's you right there, that's you. Okay. It's not these awkward interactions because I mean, seriously, 10 minutes later, I walked away from feeling totally myself. And I had a conversation with someone and I felt like I was like literally like had hands in my mouth and like so awkward. And like, what do I like? I know how to talk. What's this? I can't talk right now. Felt it wasn't their fault, wasn't my fault. It was just situationally. I got awkward for a minute and wasn't being myself at all. And then I had to remember, oh, it's okay, relax. Relaxation. That's part of it. Relaxing all of it helps you stay yourself. Okay. So let me read what you guys are saying and we will Audrey had, I help at an animal rehab and feeding baby squirrels. Oh, okay. Suze, hello. It's hard to accept compliments from new healthy partner, like your cooking is astounding, when the ex always criticized it. It takes, you know what? Let that person be that person and let them have their compliments. That's their compliment as a reaction to something that they are experiencing that you did. Try not to take it personal and try not to take it to mean more than it is right in that moment. That helps me anyway. Does that make sense? Like keeping it simple. Oh, you like this meal? What about it did you like? You could even say that. Oh, did you like this? That's great. What about it did you like? Because then you know, okay, they like these spices, they like those spices. And that's the fun part of doing for others, right? And so it doesn't make it negative. If you feel like they're complimenting you to get something from you, then that's icky. And so you pay attention to what it is that person is doing. If they're healthy, they're probably not doing that. They're probably just actually expressing gratitude. Okay, so allow other people their gratitude. But at the same time, be aware. Does that make sense? And if you feel like they're healthy, then there's no red flags going on and there's nothing in your gut telling you this person's totally using me. You know what? Then in that moment, it's all good. And you can try to just let it be. I would ask you what happens when you can't accept the compliment, what goes on in your head, and then see if you can work that piece out. Okay, I'm going backwards here. Let's go back to the top. Okay. What are we talking about? Everyone had this in common. Uh-huh. Okay. Why do narcissists project? I just did a video last week about that, I think, or a week before. So go back and look at that because it's more in depth than I'll answer here. They project to hide the truth. They project, I'm looking at the wrong camera. Oh my gosh. Okay. They project to hide the truth. They project to cover their lies, to cover their tracks, to not get caught, to not have to look in the mirror. Okay. Here's the thing, guys. We are shiny mirrors as empathic people. We are reflective of what happens to us, right? So if someone's kind to you as an empathic person, you feel it and boom, your energy connects with that person and you reflect back to them a piece of themselves, right? They don't want to see themselves. They want to see the lie that they're telling you they are. And so they project so that you're the one who's doing the wrong thing so they don't have to see what it is you see, right? So if you're like spinning your head about how you're wrong, you're not looking at them, and they don't have to see themselves. That's one reason they project. They project to hide truths really often, to, usually it's something obviously that they feel about themselves or that they're doing. They don't want to look at it. So, and they also need you to carry their burden. They need you to do the work. They need you to process everything for them, because they don't do that. That would be accountability. Okay. So there's some reasons. Let's keep going. Is anyone welcome here? Yes. And hello, Tanya. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm reading the chat. Let's see. Why don't narcissists take responsibility for their own emotional control? What do you mean by emotional control? Like, why don't they take responsibility for what they do emotionally? Or for, like I was just saying, like for their own emotional world? Like, why don't they take because well, that would be, so you have to remember that there is the delusion of grandeur that is part of the diagnosis for narcissistic personality disorder. And so if they're better than everyone else, it's clearly not their fault that they're having these emotional problems or that they're having these emotional reactions, because clearly it's other people, right? In their world. So it's really part of the whole way their minds think, I think. They don't take responsibility because it would be admitting a fault. It would be admitting that they need something that they need to change and work on. They need, and they're not going to do that. It's the lack of accountability that is kind of what I was talking about earlier. So maybe I answered that best I can here. Let's see. Baby steps is right. Okay. Hi, Suze. Thank you for joining me again. And yeah, shout out to Angie, right? I think we're all missing her. Barbara says, I give myself little goals and I accomplish them. I gain confidence and learn how to trust myself and take accountability. Beautiful. Right. And that is what? You're creating value. You're creating a sense of knowing your value, not you're creating value. You're creating situations so that you can witness your value in action, value of yourself. You're learning to like yourself or love yourself, hopefully. Okay. Okay. It's very difficult. Hey, Tina, when you have children involved. Oh my gosh. Excuse me, it's the worst, right? The children favor the ex's new supply and have been told lies about me, which have convinced them that I don't know what TBF is, unsafe person. So you're being alienated, right? You're being alienated by your ex and this new person, and whether or not this new person in their life is toxic or they are just completely fooled by the narcissist and actually believe the things that the narcissist says about you, and so they think they're protecting the children, is hard to know, right? Like, I don't know. It could be either. You would probably know, but it could be either of those kind of situations or others too. But yeah, it's really hard. You just keep doing your path. I mean, hopefully you're seeing your children, and if you can, the best suggestion I have in this situation is if you can interact with your children and compartmentalize all of that stuff that they're doing. So you don't even bring it up. Don't let it be in how you interact with them. I know it's hard. It's infuriating. If they say something, well, they said this about you. Well, you just smile and keep going. Keep being you. Keep showing them the you that is you, not the you that is fighting. Because what happens is we get alienated by these toxic people, and then the children show up and they say, well, dad says this, mom says that, whatever, right? Or they start acting like the narcissistic person towards you. So in other words, they're being indoctrinated because you can hear it in the words they're saying. If you respond to that by saying, you're just like your father, or you're just like your mother, or whatever, you know what, or where did you get that? If you respond to it, it makes you look like you're reactive to the child, right? So hard to just nod your head and say, hey, what were we going to do today? Or how's school going? Or whatever, change the subject. Because there's the thing, you battle it, it escalates. And that's the problem with alienation. It's a very, very slippery slope to be on. And I'm so sorry that you're going through it. It's painful. Let's see here. Wasn't even a beginning. What are we saying? Sorry, I have answered your question. Okay, got it. Gotcha. Okay. Hurting is a part of life, just like healing. It is, correct. And we have, I don't know. I'm not gonna go into that one. Okay. It's hard to accept compliment. Okay, we had that one. Okay, Tranquil Vision. Hello. My ex would tell me toward the end that I didn't know myself or care about myself. What is a good thought to replace that with when it comes up? You're right. I don't know myself. I would think you're right. I didn't know myself and I didn't care about myself because I was too busy managing your nonsense. And now look at me. I'm able to consider me. I'm able to consider my life so that I can be available to others, so that I can be available to myself, so that I can enjoy things, so that I can take care of myself. Because I don't have your toxic nonsense around anymore. That's the kind of thinking I would have, because you know what? It is right. By the time at the end, this is one of those moments when I don't know you personally, obviously, but this is for me, if somebody said that to me at the end of a toxic relationship, I would have to agree, because and then I'd feel bad, right? But instead of feeling bad, I would realize, wait a minute. That's only because I'm exhausted. That's only because I spent X amount of years catering to your nonsense and trying to make everything okay and trying to balance things and compromising and bending myself and folding myself and stapling myself, right? Like literally altering who I am in order to fit the box you needed me in. Well, then fabulous. If that's not me, because I don't want that to be me, let me go find me. Done. Right? Okay. Affirmations each day in the looking glass. Correct. If that works, I mean, like I said, um, let's see. Hey Fatima. Ellen, thank you. And UNA, thank you for being here and helping out. Missing Dana. Anyone know where she is? No. Know where she is in a general sense. After Angie's passing, I had one phone conversation with her that she reached out to send condolences and talk a bit. And she's doing well from what I can tell, doing her thing, taking care of herself. I don't know where, I don't know what, and I'm not gonna, that's her business, right? But she sent lots of love to the community and to everybody, you know, in that conversation. So that's all I know. Let's see. Please to move forward only. Let's see, where are we? Let's see. Okay, narcissists need to stop projecting their own self back in the mirror. They need to start, sorry, not stop. They need to start projecting their own self. Well, yeah, right? If only. If only there that, I mean, that's the simplest answer. You want a cure to narcissism? There it is. Take freaking accountability, right? Like, seriously, look in the mirror. That's the answer. And it's not look in the mirror and hate yourself. It's look in the mirror and improve yourself. Look in the mirror and do exactly what we're talking about doing. It's no brainer, right? Okay. The mirror would break and they would blame the mirror. Oh dear. Yes. Take accountability and stop lying, right? Okay. Okay, you guys. No, I understood, Fatima, what you meant. Yes. Okay. They would blame the mirror. I know, I love that. That's that was a quick one. All right. Oh, I have to go. I just saw the time. I have to leave in a moment, and I think I messed up my time today again. That's okay. We'll fix that. Okay, you guys. This is it for now. That was a half hour, and we'll come back either later this week or next Tuesday for another live stream. I apologize for not being here yesterday, being here today instead, but that's what we got. And watch out for the videos that'll come out this week. If you guys need anything, any questions, if you're watching this later, you want something answered or whatever, you want me to talk about a topic, please let me know. I try to write them down. If you've said one before, say it again. It's okay. Just keep saying it to me and I will write it down and eventually get to that, because your input helps me create this content, which helps you and others. And that's the whole point, right? So I appreciate your input. I appreciate your comments and your replies and all of that sharing and exchange. This is a community, right? And it takes all of us to get the information out there and start the healing for each and every one of us. So if you guys need anything coaching wise, group coaching, anything like that, or peer support, all the info's in the main description of every video always. So there's always a way to find it. There's ways to reach me there if you need to reach me, or like I said, in the comments is also great. And that's it. I will see you guys next week live. Otherwise, I'll see you probably tomorrow on a video or you'll see me rather. So yeah, go out there and figure out, where are you valuing yourself? And actually, let me know in the comments, how do you value yourself? What helps you find that you're important, right? What helps you find that? And what helps you connect with that part of yourself so that you can operate from there? I'm not saying inflated self-importance, right? I'm talking about simply valuing yourself as much as everyone I talk to literally will put others before themselves. Okay. Unless there's a certain point in healing and they realize, wait a minute, that is not the oxygen mask that needs to go on. Right. So what are you struggling with in that? And what, or how is it working for you? Because I think it's super important in healing. And I think it's what keeps us away from toxic people. Because if you're valuing yourself, you do not let anyone else devalue you. It stops. Okay. When it happens, you're like, bye, not doing this. All right. Okay. I'll see you guys later. Take care. I see your parental alienation comment in the chat. Yeah, I'll write that down right now. I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.